All right, so from my original rough, all right, I've got several copies of that, which we're going to do after you bring it up to me. Now, what I want to do is I want to figure out the background space. There's a variety of ways that we can do that. One of the ways is considering the negative space and then considering the shapes that you could put in those negative space areas, right? You can see I kind of built a shape that contains some space inside. The space I'm containing inside, here, the larger areas of space, are going to be something that we're going to be putting a pattern design, a Zentangle design in. So on my several copies that I have, I've gone ahead and I've tried a bunch of different designs in the negative space areas depending on the shape of the deck that I have. So I went with this shape here, and granted this is a little bit more of a neutral shape, but I found that there's a couple options. This being the snake shape, in which I have these areas of negative space to put the Zentangle designs in. Several of them are large enough. And then of course I have the background space. I also found that using templates, I can create areas of space that contain negative space areas like this. 1, 2, 3, 4 large areas in which I could put Zentangle designs in, or a geometric shape. So I used a stencil and a triangle to create these 4 areas, 1, 2, 3, and 4 areas that I can use as negative space Zentangle design. You can see they kind of overlap one another. This area through here would be negative space Zentangle design, and then I have background. Then I have negative space Zentangle, and then I have negative space Zentangle, background, etc. So I think I'm going to go with one of these two, but I'm going to go with this one to do my graphite transfer. Now, my graphite transfer starts by taking one of my copies that I did this, and I put used the pen and the thin Sharpie to do the background design. And then you're going to pick your final paper. Your final paper is on heavyweight cardstock. All right. So first things first, this is my finished design. I'm going to take my rough and I need to flip it over, and I need to put graphite on the area where there is just design. So what I'm using are these graphite sticks, all right here. And the graphite stick is just basically the same thing that's inside of a pencil. And I'm just going to lay it down. And I'm just going to cover the area with medium pressure, the area where I have design. So just sliding this across the back. You see I'm on the flat edge here. All right, just cover the whole area with graphite. Really only matters that it's in the design area. Then I'm going to take a tissue and I'm going to just soften everything. And this is just going to make basically like a graphite transfer paper that I can use to transfer my design onto my final. Once I've gotten that done, then I can start using the other copies for my color schemes. Okay, see how it's a nice medium flat gray. So all I'm doing now, I'm picking it up, and now I've got to line it up. They should line up perfectly if you line up the edges of the paper. I'm going to check mine though. I'm holding it up to the light, seeing it go through, and lining it up to make sure everything is as it needs to be. So right about there. Now, got to paper clip it so it doesn't move. So 2 paper clips, paper clip it on the edges. And then with my pencil, I'm just going, and straight edge of course, I'm just going to transfer with a little bit of pressure, just going to draw right on top of the pencil lines that I have. Now again, I have a copy of this that I made before I started the graphite transfer process. So now I just need to outline everything with a little bit of pressure, and you can see what happens when I do that. You can see the graphite version is transferring it onto the board. every once in a while, just double check to make sure that it's transferring. Okay, so that's all my characters. Now I'm just going to use the straight edge and transfer all my areas that I'm containing for the Zentangle space. And in this case, I'm using the geometric lines. So just double checking everything. Make sure I've transferred everything as I need to. Looks like I got it. Take my graphite transfer paper off and set it aside. And there is my final line drawing. Next step is going to be the Sharpie outline and the thin pen outline on the shapes. So now that we got our transfer done, we're going to do the same process we did before. We're going to do the thick Sharpie on the characters, and we're going to do the thin black pen on the shapes behind. First things first, always, anytime we're using the marker, get the cover sheet underneath. All right, got all the characters traced. Now, just going to use the ruler to do the background shapes. So now that I got all the characters outlined here on my final, I'm just going to go back and erase, clean up any pencil lines.